All right. Held on. That game felt a lot like the Cardinal game. Felt a lot like the Rams game, but it wasn't like those games. It was the game that put the Niners in first place, believe it or not. Head-to-head tiebreaker with Seattle puts them in first place at 3 wins, 3 losses. NFC West, it is what it is. Thankful to be in it. And the 49ers beat the Seahawks 36-24. Did that feel like a 36-point output for the 49ers tonight? I'm not sure that it did. What's up, everybody? Guy here, Guy Haberman. If you're watching on YouTube, great. Appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you are listening to the podcast, Spotify, 5 stars, Apple Podcasts, 5 stars, leave a review. Thanks very much. Brought to you today by Prize Picks. Click on the link down in the description. We'll have my Prize Picks coming up a little later on in the show. Yeah, we almost hit a couple of them. Did not care when it was all said and done, man. I mean, just another. This is going to be a heart attack team this year. I think that much is clear. It's going to be a team that relies on the margins more. And when you rely on the margins, you rely on special teams, you rely on rookies. If you're not going to have an offense that always scores in the red zone or a defense that never lets anybody get off. I mean, at the end of the day, like if you had looked up before the game and said, all right, you're going to hold Seattle. Seattle's going to score 24 points. Is that enough for them to win the game? I wouldn't have felt great about it, but I'd have rolled the dice that the 49ers would score more than 24 points. I think several things, right? Like we always talk about Brock. We always talk about Kyle. I think survival is the first thing to talk about here, right? I remember, and I said this after the Rams game. What was a struggle with that game was when it looked like they were going to win, I didn't feel good about their performance. And so after that game, it was going to be, oh, they won, but you can't keep it up like this. And then it came back and it played out the same way against Arizona. So there's 2 ways to look at this game. The first is to say, well, that's just not winning football. The second is to say, well, if they had lost this game, you would have said this team is snake bit. The fact that, if they were not if they were in a different division where 3-3 had them in third place, or even a different conference where the best teams by record weren't teams that you think can't win the Super Bowl, right? Like for me, Minnesota, they're not winning the Super Bowl. Then maybe you'd feel differently. But in 2024, in the NFC West and in the NFC, you get to kind of figure it out as you go. And they were in this position twice already. It almost came back to bite them today. This time they won it. That's progress. That's positive. There are plenty of negatives. If you want to look at the negatives from this game, there were plenty. Just like there were some positives in the last game that actually carried over, like Isaac Guerrero, who turned out to be really good. So they have not figured it out yet, but they were in the same situation. They've been in before. This time they won the game instead of losing the game. And you might call that a moral victory, except it's not, because it's a win. And the math is what I've been talking about this through 6 weeks of the season so far. It's about the math. This is a math division this year. This is not an eye test division this year. It's a math division. So you've got a division where it's not going to take 12 games to win it. So just win them ugly. Now you got Kansas City. All right, you got these other, you got good teams. And these are the teams where you measure, can you win the NFC? Can you win a Super Bowl? Right? But unfortunately, that is not the measurement right this moment on October 10th. The measurement on October 10th is, can they win the division? Can they put themselves in a position to win a couple playoff games? Can they, maybe it's about getting healthy. Maybe it's about getting McCaffrey, whatever it is. It's a math season right now. And math seasons are less fun than eye test, ass kickers, clear Super Bowl favorite seasons. Those are different types of seasons. This is clearly a math season. Less fun. But it's the right year to be in a math season in the NFC West. So a couple things stand out. I think the first thing that I really came out of this game thinking about, and for those of you watching, yes, it is romantic lighting. I am not at home. I am in Pasadena, California. That's not a good Keith Jackson impression, but I'm in Pasadena because I'll be calling the Minnesota UCLA game at the Rose Bowl on Saturday. I'm very excited about that. This makes me feel a little bit better about it. But I'm in Pasadena, which is very nice, by the way. Look at this. We got these little pink pens at the hotel. It's very nice. Very nice, Pasadena. There's not a noise ordinance. There's multiple pools at this hotel. People did hear yelling coming from this room tonight. But I think let's start with one positive beyond just you won the game. This was a big game for the 49ers, like operation. If you think back over the last few months, one thing we've talked a lot about is that the Kansas City Chiefs won a Super Bowl with Andy Reid last year. Yes. Won a Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes. Yes. Steve Spagnuolo. Yes. They also have had their rookies over the last 3 years contribute a lot more than the 49er rookie classes of 2023, 2022, or 2021. The Chiefs rookie classes in those 3 years gave them significantly more production than the 49ers rookie classes in each of those individual years did by significant margins. I've done multiple videos and podcasts on it, okay? And that this year's class looked on paper like a high floor class, which is all well and good until you start playing and you look up and you go, oh, high floor means maybe not high ceiling. But it was the right year to do it because they needed these guys. The injuries that this team is going through are appalling. Hell, Al Michaels was laughing about it at the end of the broadcast. I don't think it's that funny. I don't have his first name off the top of my head, but the kicker, right? I mean, this guy, talk about a dream come true. He was out. He was out of the game. He comes back in as clutch for the 49ers today. Now he's hurt. Because the Niners they can't cover. That's a whole other thing. I said this was going to be positive. So here's the positive. Wow. How about the rookies? Malik Mustafa, multiple big plays before checks notes getting hurt. Some huge tackles, a huge second down tackle early in the game, and a massive interception. Multiple plays in the backfield. He looked fantastic. Hufanga out. Malik Mustafa looked fantastic. Renardo Green, tough game. I don't know what the snap count number is going to end up being in the end, but it felt like Renardo Green, not to be confused with Renardo Brown. Renardo Green played a ton of snaps in this game. Huge pick at the end. All right. Isaac Guerendo. I remember I said this earlier in the week. I had a conversation with Ethan Strauss. He's a big Niner fan. He's like, Guerendo. And I said to him, I gotta be honest. I said to him, Guerendo, last week, Sunday, where was the burst? Well, today, very good game from Isaac Guerendo. They really needed it. Jordan Mason gave him one snap in the second half. Jordan Mason was well on his way to his more than for your boys' prize picks lineup. I had a prize pick lineup. It hinged on the more than whatever it was going to be, 56 or 65 yards rushing for JP Mason. No, it was more than that. It was 77. I don't know what it was. He finished with 73. Isaac Guerendo. Now, I know the 76-yarder at the end, which I want to talk about that in a second. This is where I worry about this team. Like, are we a details team? When I say we, like, that's how we would talk. So let's take 99. Hold on. 99. This is going to change this per carry. 23 divided by 9. 2.5 yards, 2.6 yards per carry when you take away the 76-yarder. Felt better than that, honestly. I thought Isaac Guerendo had a solid day. Patrick Taylor was 3 yards a carry. I think both of those guys had some strong carries and then had several like zero carries, which doesn't feel like a running back problem, feels like an offensive line problem, right? I mean, it felt like Brock Purdy. This felt like we'll have to wait for the rewatch on this or an offensive line expert. This felt like the worst pass protection game of the season for the 49ers. It felt like Purdy almost never had a clean pocket. 18 of 28, 64%, 255, 3 touchdowns, no picks. So, from that standpoint, it was that was in so many ways. And then Pooney, right? Pooney playing. So Guerendo, Pooney, Mustafa, Green. Wow. That is a major, major, major positive. Because as you look at the outlook for this team and you see these injuries and maybe Ricky Pearsall will be coming along at some point. I didn't think, as a person who was like early Jacob Cowing, he didn't look great on the punt returns today, but we'll check on the injury on Mustafa, right? But Mustafa, Green, Puni, Guerrero, if you're looking for reasons to think outside of the other stuff that they can weather the storm this year, it's their rookie class. They don't win this game without their rookie class. That was a huge impact. 2 picks from rookie DBs, a game icing carry from the rookie running back, and then just another game of no mistakes, Dominic Puni. So that was excellent. Now, and here's the thing. You got to understand, when we do these game reaction shows like tonight, some of it is big picture theme topics. Some of it is just rattling through some stuff. So that's a big picture theme topic, right? That was a John Lynch flex game tonight. Here's just a nitpick. I do wonder, Kyle is so good at so many details. Isaac Guerrero going down was not the right play. And it looked like he slowed down, got tripped up, slid down. That was not the right play. Okay, go up 2 score, because he is going to make sure they take more time off the clock. But if you'd only get a field goal, it's a 1-possession game. They're going to get the ball back with 40 seconds, down 8. Anyway, but that's a nitpick that thankfully we don't have to talk about today. But I do think big picture, like, one thing is clear with this team. They have to, this version of the Niners has to be extremely detail oriented. They cannot, the Cowboys under Mike McCarthy lose games in the margins, special teams mistakes, penalties, mental errors. And this team cannot be that. There have been other years where the Niners could give up a big special teams return, miss a field goal, make a bad decision, and overcome it because they would just lock down on defense, or they could put together a 7-minute drive at the end of the game with their run game and a road grading offensive line, and it'd be fine. It's clear this is not that team. So they've got to be better on special teams and coverage, right? Again, I don't think we've had a clean week yet for their kickoff coverage, punt return coverage team. Special teams. They have not had a totally clean, and the new guy was great, but they have not had a totally clean special teams game yet. And today, the 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown from Laviska Shenault was brutal. But they overcame. Like, this was a game, you win it, and it's funny, the result just affects kind of how you review the game. This game, you win it, you go, all right, you survived in a spot where you hadn't survived before. And then you get Kyle Juszczyk the touchdown. And it doesn't, it means the Guerrero thing didn't matter. But, that's just a big picture thought. I think you go into this game understanding that. I think this team needs to understand that. I think Kyle needs to understand it. Last year, what did he do? When he didn't love the way Steve Wilks' defense was being operated, he started popping his head into the defensive meeting rooms. I think this is a game, this is a season now where maybe he's got involved, not get involved in special teams necessarily, but when you have this many rookies who are contributing like they do, there are some remedial basic things that you have to make sure you cover that maybe you don't have to cover with a veteran team, right? Last year's group, where there's your rookie contributions are minimal. This team, a little different. There are just going to be some basic things that you're going to have to cover with these guys, situations they've never been in before. Isaac Guerrero, maybe he's been in that spot before. He was not a starting running back in college. He was a very productive one. Did somebody tell him, don't score a touchdown? Did somebody tell him that? So I don't bring that up to say, hey, let's focus on this negative thing that Guerrero did. I'm just saying in the big picture, this is a different group than Kyle Shanahan has had from a youth standpoint. And so he may have to go back to some basics on some stuff that maybe he could ignore in the past. And that's just something to keep in mind for the future. But all in all, just the other thing I'll say about Guerrero, who was impressive when they really needed him, and it goes back to what I said about Kyle Shanahan 3-4 weeks ago. And, you look up and you go, there are some times where historically people have said, pass the ball more, Kyle. I've not been one of those people. I've been fine with the run pass, the lean towards the run. I looked at it the other day, a couple days ago, and we'll have to update it after today. But the Niners this season by percentage, by about 3% more, which I don't know if that's statistically significant. But they have thrown the ball more, up by 10 this year, than they did in the last 2 years on average, right? So they are running it less when they're up by 10. I don't have the exact splits yet from tonight, what it ended up being, but that'll be I'll have to update those numbers at some point. I mean, what did the split end up being tonight? Purdy threw the ball 28 times and the Niners ran the ball 33 times. All right. So now before we got to the last drive, I don't know, but just something to keep an eye on. Comment: Guerendo has not looked good, has not looked amazing. One good run. I disagree. I mean, yeah, he hasn't. The standard's not amazing. The standard is, are you filling in okay? And there's clearly a drop off from Jordan Mason. There's no doubt. But Isaac Guerendo had some key runs for them in this game. Fine. But this goes back to the point I wanted to make about 4 weeks ago on Kyle. Don't forget who you are. Who are you at your core? You are an Alex Gibbs run game, Mike Shanahan Broncos, swag. I can take any running back and make him a dude. Dude. That's who you are. And I thought there were some big runs by the two running backs today, even though their averages didn't look great. Let me send a message here to producer / intern Connor, checking out some details on what Shanahan said about injuries. So anyway, big draft game, big rookie game, won with it. That's great. Got to it. This team may require a little different coaching from Shanahan in big moments that maybe he hasn't had to do before, right? And like the coaching point would have been Guerendo, go score that touchdown. You break it, go score it. By the way, I always laugh at people like, yeah, outside of the 76-yard run, he wasn't that great. Oh, you mean the run that won him, that finished the game? That run? Yeah, outside of the biggest play of the fourth quarter for the 49ers offense, he wasn't that great. Well, maybe not the biggest play. You can't say that. I've heard coaches say this. I saw somebody said this the other day. I remember covering a team once where the coach said after the game they gave up like 7 explosive plays, and the coach said, "You take away those 7 explosive plays, we win the game." It's like, yeah, but we don't take away the 76-yard run that could have been a game-sealing touchdown. We don't take it away. It happened, so he gets credit for it. And I thought outside of that, it was still pretty good. It was still really good. So good job, Isaac Guerendo. Good job, rookies. Not perfect, but good job. Mitch Wishnowsky. I don't know what the final numbers were. Didn't even look. He was good. Big punt late in the game. The review. How does that happen? The NFL did not have all of NBC's or all of Amazon's angles. I thought that Kyle Shanahan completely wasted a timeout, threw a desperate challenge flag. I don't know who somebody obviously told him, hey, I think the guy in the punt return touched it. I thought it was crazy. I thought he was wrong. And then we finally got to the replay that showed it, and he was right. And Terry McAulay comes on TV and says it hit his finger. And then they show the replay. I'm like, oh, yeah, it hit his finger. So then, of course, a lot of people say to me, but I guess you tweeted too quickly. And my response is, for the record, there's no such thing. Who cares? It's Twitter. But, yeah, if you saw it live and you could tell that hit his finger, good for you. I did not think so. I thought it missed him by a foot. Overcome it. You got to overcome it. They did. Put it this way. That would not make anybody feel having the righteous answer on that would not make anybody feel good today. But I don't know. I'm all for expedited reviews, but somebody's got to communicate. Like, guys, we got to look here that says he touched it. Now, here's the one thing I'll say about that. because I got a lot of that, obviously, like, oh, conspiracy. Is it acceptable? No, that is not acceptable. But conspiracy, well, you think the NFL wants the 49ers to be 2-4? Here, newsflash, they don't. They're going to be on national television a lot. The 49ers being good is amazing for the NFL. So, no conspiracy. I just thought, I'm just looking at this box score. I thought there were some games that are some performances that were better than the box score. Comment, come on, guys. 7 is different than the dude's first explosive of the year. I'm not sure what that means. Obviously, it's a reference to Garendo. I just thought he was better than I thought it was his best game before the 76-yarder. Is that saying much? No, he hasn't done much. But I was not optimistic after last week. But when you look back, last week was kind of an indication that things were going to get a little bit better. Something's happening right now in this hotel room. Like a pipe's about to burst. The whole place is shaking. And the noise is extremely loud. I don't know what that is. But to the same point, Debo, I'm just looking at the numbers. 3 for 102 on the through the air. 4 carries for 15 yards. Like on paper, you go, all right, 102. Debo was good. Debo saved Purdy on that third down throw that Brock really, it was a wide open throw and Purdy missed it kind of behind. It was crazy. I mean, Debo was so open that he had time. It was the first drive of the game. Debo was so open on 3rd and 1. The Niners ran a play action, just try to trick the defense. It worked. Debo's so open, and he throws it behind, and Debo bounced it to himself, makes the catch. I thought, Debo was good in this game. Kittle was really good in this game in clutch spots. The 2 touchdowns, both were tough catches. The first touchdown catch on 3rd down was really tough, right? I mean, you look at it, the Niners go red zone on the first red zone drive. They go run. They throw it to Mason like he's McCaffrey. Didn't work. They split him out far left and back like he was McCaffrey. Didn't work. They throw a weird ball to Debo. That play was blown up. Didn't work. So get a field goal. Second red zone drive. Trent Williams gets blasted off the line of scrimmage, and Garendo loses a yard on 1st down. Then there's a low throw to Debo on 2nd and 11. Then a screen to Juice on 3rd and 11. You're like, this is comical. How is none of the this is nothing. What is going on here in the red zone? This is crazy. And then they got, the touchdown to Kittle kind of broke the seal. Front pylon, hell of just an amazing catch. Just really a fantastic catch by Kittle. And then they scored again in the red zone on a 3rd down. So they haven't made it look easy. They have not made it look easy in the red zone. And I think, not being able to run the ball effectively is a big reason why down there. But they got it done in some clutch spots. I'm just scrolling some of these comments here. Oh, let me get this one. Super chat from James. Has the league is catching up to Kyle's scheme? I don't think so. I mean, the league has been catching up, and he's been adjusting, and he has to adjust. He's changing a little bit though with some of the Purdy pass game stuff. But I'm here to tell you that the football coaches, I don't think they feel like people are catching up to his scheme. I think it's very challenging, and him as the play caller is a part of it. But the key to the whole thing is running the football, and they don't need Christian to do that. They don't have to have Christian McCaffrey to run the football, But no, I don't think that's happened. I any more than it has already been happening, which is just he has to keep evolving, just like Brock has to keep evolving. But I don't think he's figured out. I mean, this run game worked 30 years ago, and it works today at every level. Tony with some insight. Tony says, or Gino is pure ass. Well, if you've been watching or listening for a while, you know that My opinion is that Seattle will never win anything as long as Geno Smith is their quarterback. And it's not because I'm a Geno hater. It's just because he's just beatable. He's going to make mistakes. He had multiple bad throws today, just egregious turnovers. I mean, if Purdy or, if your quarterback throws those picks, you are beside yourself. Like, it's one thing to throw contested ball picks, but the picks that he threw, 2 of the picks he threw were just brutal. The Mustafa pick and the Green pick were nice catch. Credit to those guys. Like, someone put you in position to make a play, make the play, catch the football. They both looked really natural catching the football, but they were awful throws by Geno. But anyone who's been watching or listening knows there is not a Geno stat you can give me that makes me care, including, he's leading the league in passing coming into this game. Who cares? Not me. That's what you get. So, yeah, they got DK. Yeah, they got JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Yeah, they got Tyler Lockett. All right. Those guys are really good. But Geno's their quarterback. And as long as he's their quarterback, they are going to be limited. And they are limited. They weren't a fraud. They're not a fraudulent team. That's who they are. Now, they're fraudulent if they're, 3-0 and you think that's something. But that's on you for believing that. This is just who they are. And who they are is a team that makes you beat them. Right? Like, for the most part, like, Geno's going to throw you the ball, but they're going to go make plays too. They're going to run the ball. I think their coach is solid. I thought the way they spread the 49ers out on 3rd and 7, where they ended up getting that 20-plus yard throw to Tyler Lockett was really good. I would have used a timeout there. I thought the Niners should have used a timeout there because it kind of felt like the game. And you're watching this formation, and Devondre Campbell is the boundary corner, and you're like, oh, no. He's about to get smoked, and he didn't. It was, I think, Isaac Yiadom that got beat by Tyler Lockett. He had an up-and-down game. That hasn't gone as great as I thought it was going to go. I thought it was going to be really good. But Damador Lenore was good with no Mooney Ward. This was a pretty gutty, gritty, and maybe you'll call it revisionist history. If they'd lost the game, be killing them. Yeah, of course, but they didn't. They won the game. That was a pretty gutty, gritty win. When you really take a step back and go, Mooney Ward's out. They got the guards. Banks is huffing and puffing on the sideline. Can't get back on the field. Mustafa gets hurt. Hufanga just came back. He's back out. Jordan Mason gets hurt as he is dominating. So, Yetur Gross-Matos, their depth is toast. Absolutely toast. And they played, it felt like a lot of snaps today. Seattle was basically, it felt like going fast the whole second half. And there were a couple of stops in there where there had to be stops for that defense. They got some punts in some spots where it felt like, boy, Seattle just going to be able to move the ball this whole second half. And they didn't let them. So, it's easy to be mad or discouraged about a lot of that stuff in that game, but there have been wins. The Rams game, I said this, if they'd won that game, I would have been glass half empty that day. Today, you got to take the win, play the math, play the division, be glass half full. I'll tell you this other thing. If I were the Seattle Seahawks, those throwback uniforms are pretty cool. Like, I like them, but I would not honor the part of my franchise's history, which is basically the entire history before Mike Holmgren showed up, where we were just dog shit. I would not go to those. As cool as those uniforms are, they had zero glory days in those uniforms. I would stick with the highlighter yellow, highlighter green, the thing that brought the 12s out. I mean, it's cool to honor Dave Craig, or who's the guy who used to catch the ball, NFL Films, over both shoulders, whatever, great receiver. It's cool to honor those guys, but I would not wear the uniform of the 90s when we won like 8 games once and everybody went crazy. But they're beautiful uniforms. If I were the Niners, I would only wear throwbacks permanently. I don't think you're allowed to do that, but They should just wear their uniforms all the time. Fred Warner was a force on that early screen and forced a fumble that we didn't recover. Comment from Griffin. Fred Warner, yeah, that was the Seahawks' third drive of the game. It was a 3rd and 3 to start the second quarter. It's 3-0. And Warner it looked like he had 2, maybe 3 defenders coming right at him. And they threw that screen. It was 3rd and 3, and they threw it like all they had to do was take 2 steps forward is what it looked like, and it was going to be a first down. And Warner somehow splits 2 dudes and makes a play. And then Purdy hits Debo for 76 yards, and it's 10-0. And you're like, great. 10-0 lead. Fantastic. Felt a little early for a 10-0 lead, didn't it? It's like, oh. Okay, here we go. Where is this? I just saw 2. All right. So which is it? All right, here's a super chat from Kevin. Bosa played his best game of the year. Absolute game record tonight. Mob Squad, I don't know if this is a response to this. Casual. Bosa had 0 sacks. So I don't know if you're calling Kevin a casual or you're just saying a casual would say 0 sacks. Personally, I'm not a fan of the word casual as a shot, but I'm not sure which side you're on there, Mob Squad, so I'm not coming at you. But I thought Bosa was good today. I thought it was really disruptive. I love the graphic they had about how quick he got off the ball on average, fastest off the ball on average, and then how quick it was today. I don't know how many pressures there ended up being. Connor, I don't think we have that stat yet, but he created so much. It really, I wasn't surprised when at one point Al Michael said there's been no sacks in this game. I'm like, I know, I've been watching. They've almost gotten to Geno like 10 times, it felt like. Kevin said, thank you for the super chat. They've almost gotten to Geno 10 times. But he was everywhere. Yeah, 2 QB hits. Connor's got the stats here for me. Forced the first interception. That's a great call. He was really good. 14 pressures. Is that a Niners stat tonight? Yeah. Pressures led to interceptions. That was really good. Nothing wrong with being a casual. I agree with that. That's why I don't and by the way, someone who drops in, watches a game can have a legitimate opinion too. You don't need to do all the film studies sometimes. Comment. Here's a super chat. €5. Woo, put that one away for my next trip to Portugal. I'm going to go to Je ne sais quoi for dinner. €5. Metcalf didn't have the career game that he predicted. Defense played well against him. He would be scary with a better quarterback. I was mocked when I said in my last prize picks lineup, I was going to take DK less than whatever it was. It was like 56 receiving yards. And he would have blown by it had it not been for the illegal shift against the Seattle Seahawks. But I was mocked. And I was right. We were reminded again today of something I said in the offseason. And this feels like a lifetime ago because since I said it, Ayuk had a pretty messy holdout. But the one thing you never say what you want about Brandon Ayuk's holdout. The one thing that you never see from Brandon Ayuk, you never see from Deebo Samuel, you never see from Juwan Jennings or George Kittle. You never see those guys. I mean, you never see them acting like bad team guys on the sideline. And I hate to say that about DK because every time I watch DK do a press conference, I love the guy. I'm like, oh, this guy's awesome. But you think about last year, multiple times teams knew they could get in his head and force him to commit unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. And you don't love paying top wide receiver money to a guy who can't control himself during the game. And this was a conversation we had back when we were talking about, like, how much should you pay Brandon Ayuk? And part of my argument for yes was he acts the right way during the game. He is not a leader of your locker room per se. That's not the category he's in. But he is a team player when it comes time to playing the game. And it feels like, again, DK can be, I don't know if disruptor's too strong, but when things are not going right, it feels like it goes off the rails for him, So I misread a couple of these comments from you guys, and Connor has jumped in because he went to the next gen stats. 14 pressures in 49 snaps for Nick Bosa today. That is outrageous. I mean, that's a 29% pressure rate. Let me just see if I can pull up real quick. Like, if I go to PFF, I don't know if I can get let's see by let's look up some pressure rates. 28.8 is what it is. Let's go. I'm just going to go to edge rushers. Can I get pressures real quick here? So Aiden Hutchinson leads the league coming into tonight with 40 pressures in 248 snaps. That's 16%. So I don't think I don't have the percentages here. Go to pass rush. But, obviously a season and one game, the numbers can be a little off in one game. But pressure, here we go. No, that's not it. I'm just looking for pressure percentage, win rate, rush rate. I have to do some more digging. But what I can tell you is that Aiden Hutchinson, who has the most pressures in the NFL, gets a pressure on 16% of his snaps this year. So I would guess that I don't know what leads the league, but that's going to be up there. Let's just look at second play. No, I mean, it's the third most pressures in the NFL for edge rushers? Chase Young. Myles Garrett, 23 divided by 139. Nope, that was right. Is 16%. So that's about the same, right? You talk about the best. Let's see Bosa here. Career season average, 21. Entering play tonight, 21 pressures on 153 pass rush snaps. That's 14%. So Aiden Hutchinson and Myles Garrett get a pressure on 16% of their pass rushes. Bosa coming in this year is 14%. What did I say it was tonight? 29%? Wow. I mean, 14 pressures for Bosa. Is that really correct? He has 21 entering play tonight. So he's going to go from 21. He's going to go from 8th to 1st. No, I guess not first. He'll be 35th. Second, there'll be 35 pressures on the year. Obviously, he'll have played one more game than a lot of guys. But that is wild. Oh, my God. This hotel is really nice, but it's old. And this chair is from, I don't know what year. I think Roosevelt sat in this chair when he toured Pasadena. I mean, it is like, what is this fabric? It's like wearing away. But I'm wearing the short shorts today. The 7-inch inseam Vioris, and these things are just, these chairs is killing me. Comment: we won't win the Super Bowl with our current special teams performance. We need to get better there somehow. Yeah, I mean, yes, but it's October 10th. And this is where I say, look, clearly the goal is win the championship. There's no doubt. But there's two types of people. There's the type of person that thinks this is it. This is their last shot. And there's the person who doesn't. And for me, I don't look at them as the last dance team. I said that the other day and somebody says, yeah, you're right, guy. The last dance was last year. Maybe that will turn out to be true. We'll have to look back on it in 5 years. But the quarterback's good. The quarterback's good. Window's open. You know, I said this the other day. I'll repeat it now for those of you that missed it. But Brandon Ayuk, who, by the way, didn't put up big numbers today, but had some clutch catches. But they just paid the guy. What's key is that Brandon Ayuk's a key player. What's key is that Nick Bosa's an ass kicker. There's like 3 players on offense that are younger than Brandon Ayuk. 3 core players that are younger than Brandon Ayuk. How does one get better at special teams? I mean, kick it out of the end zone. I'm all for kicking every kick through the uprights, but it's I mean, nobody's doing it. Comment, the hotel room looks like it's from the 80s. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I will say, when I checked in, the lovely person who checked me in said, "Oh, you got a pretty sweet upgrade." I was like, "Oh, did I?" And it's just, I mean, I could do some, you know, some burpees in this room. It's got some size. It's a big room, but still got a shower curtain. Like, end of the day, if you've got a shower curtain, don't brag to me about the room. If it doesn't have a shower door, I don't care. It could be 750 square feet, 1,300 square feet. I don't care. It could have a view. If it has a shower curtain, don't brag to me about the room. I don't think Wright has the leg to kick through the uprights. Is he going to be their kicker next week? Let's check on that. But I will say, giveth and taketh away, right? Like, bad special teams play, great special teams play. Last week, a blocked kick for a touchdown. So it's not like they're all negative on special teams. It just feels that way. Oh, man. Getting kickers hurt on coverage is just brutal. Just brutal. This is not a haunted hotel. This is a very, it's, I don't know. Maybe it is. This is not the Claremont. All right. A couple more comments. Oh, you know what? I got to talk about Brock Purdy. Obviously. We always talk about Brock Purdy. We've got to talk about Brock Purdy's game tonight. Before I talk about Brock Purdy's game, this is the perfect opportunity to tell you, not just to tell you, it is time for my, where did this go? For my Prize Pick segment. It's time for my Prize Pick segment. Prize Pick sponsors the show, and that means I do a Prize Pick segment, which I'm very excited about. So I'll talk about Brock Purdy in a second, but I want you to support the show, or if you want to support the show, you can go to prizepicks.com or use the Prize Picks app. Use the code GUY. And when you do that, all you got to do is make a $5 lineup. And you don't have to win. You don't have to win that lineup. You just got to make the lineup. You'll immediately get $50 into your account, which you can start playing with. So normally I'm at home on the big 27-inch monitor, and I got all kinds of screens up. We're going to do this. Here we go. Okay, you're seeing this. All right, here we go. 2 lineups coming for Sunday night and Monday Night Football. We had some lineups for tonight. Did not win them. Got close. All right, first up, I'm going to go Kyler. Oh, man, come on. Don't freeze on me now. We got a lot going on this screen. Here we go. All right. Kyler Murray. Let's go Kyler. We're going to go Kyler. Less than 214 and a half passing yards. All right. He's only been over that number once this year, was against the Rams. Going to be raining Sunday in Green Bay. So you got a gross, kind of mucky game against the Packers. Packers are allowing 231 passing yards a game, 23rd in the NFL. So this one's going to be close. But let's go letdown game for the Cardinals. All right. So that's number one. Then I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. Let's go Jalen Hurts more than half a passing touchdown. Oh, I can change this one to 1.5. I'm not going to do that here, though. I'm just looking for a win. I'm going to go more than there. Browns have a good defense, only 4 touchdowns through the air this season, but A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson should all be back this week after the bye. Hurts has only 5 touchdown passes this season, due for a good game. So is this offense. So we're going half a touchdown pass. This is a Smiley Goblin pick. Yeah. All right. That's going to hurt the payout, but that's okay. I need a win. All right. And now we're going to go CD. How do we spell CD Lamb? Is there a space? Yeah. We're going to go CD Lamb, 85.5 receiving yards. I'm going to go more against the Lions. CD Lamb. Read my lips. CD Lamb will be featured this week. I think we're winning this one. This is a very important game in the NFC standings. Lions are 27th in defensive pass yards per game. They allow over 258 passing yards a game. And of course, we could flex it, but we're not gonna. We're gonna keep this going here. We're gonna go 50, and that's gonna pay 170. And I feel really, really good about that one. All right, that's lineup number 1. All right, Prize Picks code guy. Lineup number 2. Let's make lineup number 2 real quick. You see how fast and easy this is. And I make lineups for you guys, and then I just make a lot of lineups just hanging out. All right. Oh, we got to go with primetime Kirk Cousins, not in primetime this week. Come on, Kirk Cousins. We're going Kirk Cousins 254.5. Ooh, what do I want to do here? I'm going to go 254.5. Don't get greedy. More than he threw for 509 against the Bucks. That was the only game he's been over 254 this year, but he's finding a groove. Darnell Mooney had a bunch of catches, or Drake London did. Darnell Mooney played well. 10 days off, worst team in the league. Panthers giving up 233. Let's go there. Let's go Brian Thomas, also feeling this. Brian Thomas against the Bears, 57.5 receiving yards. We're going more than for the Jacksonville receiver. He's averaging almost 80 a game. Last 2 weeks, 122 against Indy, 86 against Houston. Looks like a stud. Needs to be featured from here on out. We're going more than. And then I'm going to go, Connor knows this. I love a kicker pick. Tyler Bass, more than 1.5 field goals made. Jets will come out with some fire after the Saleh firing. Bend, don't break on defense. Primetime game. Bass averages 1.6 a game. Bills offense has been bottled up in the red zone. 33% touchdowns last week in the red zone against the Texans. Oh, wow. I'm going 50 for 250. I think we're winning both of these. I think I'm winning both of these. I feel very good about this. So you can either roll with me. You can, I guess you can short me if you want. But there you go. Prize Picks, code guy. Appreciate the support. Appreciate y'all playing. If you do, there's a link down in the description. And if you click that link, it is my link. So it gets you right in on the action. All right. Let's see. I know I got a couple of super chats I'm looking for. Ryan says, just got done watching the game with my neighbors, Nick and Carrie. Small world. Oh, please tell me we don't need a third kicker. Yeah, well, I'm sorry they told you about this, Ryan. Appreciate the super chat. Ryan Holmes of Fairfax, clearly. Ryan lives by a very nice golf course. Well, he walks up the little hill. He's got the trail right there. He just watched the game with Nick and Carrie and Julian, which is fantastic. Meadow Club. Ryan, if you're a member at Meadow Club, let's go. Got a little ice cream shop in Fairfax. It's very good. Love the ice cream shop in Fairfax. Word on the street. Well, I don't even want to say. Word on the street is, I'll just say this, that a world famous entertainer has taken up residence in Marin County there in the Fairfax area. I won't say who. We as locals, I don't live in Fairfax, but as a local adjacent, we like to protect the privacy of the famous, the rich and famous that come to live in these parts. And let's just say a world famous, one of my favorites, has taken up residence in the Fairfax area. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I can say. But Ryan's neighbor. So there you go. What else we got here? Some more super chats. All right, let's talk about. I know there are some, but let's talk about Brock Purdy. And I saw somebody made a comment about Brock, like, how did you think he was after last week? And the funny thing was, after last week, I thought he was good. This week, I thought he was good again. So let's go through this. And there was something that really stood out to me that stands out now. There is a reminder of his youth. If you remember last week, or Sunday was this week, one of the big plays in that game, he ran around and knocked them out of field goal range. He ran around a little bit today, made some plays. I thought made some really, really, really special plays in this game. There are a couple things that I think are fair to say you still want to see some from Brock, but some really special plays. So let me go back to this game, my notes here. All right. And let's just start and kind of go through this, because I think what we're seeing on a regular basis is that you can't summarize Purdy's game on one or two plays, because he makes multiple really impressive plays over the course of a game. Ed McCaffrey earlier today, before the game, said that he thought it was clear that Brock Purdy is playing better football than he was last year. And I agree with him. I think it's clear also. We've been talking about this, but that means a lot coming from Ed McCaffrey, who obviously watches the 49ers very closely. And I think he's right. And I think, of course, he's right. Of course, Brock Purdy is playing better football this year. I said this all offseason when people want, like, how are the Niners going to be better? Well, Brock Purdy's going to be better. Why is he going to be better? Because he's got a whole offseason with the coach. He's healthy. He can focus on football. That's all he's got to do, and commercials, but mostly football. He's got a whole camp. He was taking every third day off of camp. They were trying to figure out a quarterback battle behind him. This year, totally different experience. And he worked on his explosion. As somebody who thinks he's going to get away a lot of the time, he still gets out of spots that I don't think he's going to get away from. And I don't love when he uses that power to just run backwards and do these sideways, these 360 spins with his back to the field and then gets the ball away from like 17 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Don't love all those plays. But first drive of the game, let's go through this. First drive of the game, he breaks a tackle on 3rd and 2 from their own 12-yard line. Jerome Baker, I think the linebacker, came up to make a play. And that was not a trick play. That was not a juke play. That was I think I'm fast enough to go get there. And so many young quarterbacks get a wake-up call in the NFL when they try to make that play, because they're just not as fast as they were in college. And so here you've got a young guy who burst onto the scene and is improving his athleticism. And it was already kind of a strength of his, right? But that was really impressive. I think what's great about him is he doesn't have to play, a perfect game. You get to a point with quarterbacks when they're in their prime, or even as they're ascending, definitely once they've reached the point where they've proven themselves, where every throw, every game is not a referendum. You know what I love to say? The most invisible superpower is invisibility, but the second most invisible superpower is consistency. And when you throw with as much anticipation and touch as Purdy throws with, you have to be consistent in your decision-making, your anticipation, and your accuracy. And he is proving over time things that if you do them for a game or for a week or two or for a season, even, we go, I don't know, can you really keep it up? But he is proving to be able to keep it up. Didn't love the call on 3rd and 1, but it worked. Debo had to save him. That wasn't a great throw. We talk about his arm a lot, and that part of the reason he has to be so accurate and decisive is because he doesn't have the strongest arm in the league, right? He's got an average-ish arm. But he made some throws today. I don't change everything about his arm that I've said, but he did make some throws today that was like, oh, okay. And I thought on the first drive, they had a 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. And Brock runs around for 7 seconds, and he ends up on his back foot having to throw over the middle to Juwan Jennings at the 10-yard line. And he did it. I mean, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know it was an 18-yard gain. So he probably threw that ball my guess would be about 27, 20, 28 yards, 26 yards, somewhere in that range, air yards. And it was a really impressive throw because he did not have time to step into it. So that was another throw I just made a note of, like, okay, wow. Second possession. He had a weird, second possession, nothing really special. He had a weird kind of step up and jump throw to Kittle. It was an awkward play. The throw to Debo. Now, there was a lot of debate about on the touchdown pass to Debo. This is the third possession of the game. Everyone remembers this play. That he, did he throw the ball short of the sideline intentionally to avoid the safety? I don't know. Herbstreit said he did. I don't know if he did or not. But go back and watch that play. I took a screenshot of it, but it's not going to do it justice. Go back and watch that play. Go back and watch the Debo play. Not the replay, not replay angles, the live play. The way that Purdy moves in the pocket is unbelievable. He has to be a top 3 pocket feel guy. I mean, this is going to sound crazy, but it feels like, it feels like the best quarterbacks in their prime. I hesitate to say that, obviously, but that's what it feels like. Just his feel for the pocket is, this word gets overused, but it is elite. And it's not elite today. I think it might just be historically elite. When I just, in my head, close my eyes and think about the way the best quarterbacks of the last 25 years move in the pocket, feel pressure in the pocket, what Purdy does so well, and the reason he runs so far backwards is in part because of his size and his arm. He needs to create distance between himself and the pass rusher in order to give himself time to make a play, right? Because he's not 6'4". So he creates all this space for himself, but he also does it, if you watch that play, he does it in short areas too. And that pocket was not great. That pocket, he got pushed a little bit from the right. And so he just kind of moves to the right a little bit, but doesn't leave the pocket completely and just creates a little space to make that throw and still delivered it on time. Maybe a clean pocket. He's able to cut that ball loose a little bit earlier because he doesn't have to sidestep. But honestly, this is going to sound crazy. I get chills at how well he moves in the pocket because it's just so special. It is so special. And we can talk about completion percentages, touchdown interception ratios, efficiencies, all of that stuff. The way he moves in the pocket, I thought his anticipation was his best skill. His pocket movement might actually be even better. It's unbelievable to me. A player of his age, how well he moves, how well he feels his way around. If you watch college football, you just know, and even if you watch young quarterbacks in the NFL, guys leave the pocket at the first hint of pressure all of the time, way too soon. The key is for the ball to just come out quickly. But it can't always happen that way. And that play, the ball did come out pretty quickly, but the pass rush got to him even faster. He is, I really don't want to be hot takey here. It feels like Rodgers in the pocket. When I just who are the best guys at staying in the pocket, feeling their way around the pocket, making a play. And Aaron has the benefit of a rocket arm and way more experience. He by this point of Aaron's career, he was not playing. But it's just, I think it's his greatest trait. It's really just crazy. So he hit that play. He hits. The funny thing about I'll move on from that play. The funny thing about some of the plays with Ayuk, what did Ayuk finish with today? 2 catches? But the ones they hit feel so easy. They hit them and you go, oh, you should be able to do this 10 more times today, right? What's the problem here? Why aren't there more of these? How many did he have today? 2? My guess is 2 for 30. 2 for 37. Okay. But God, when Brock, both balls, and Ayuk found space, but both throws were absolute dime pieces. He had a little sidearm throw to Kittle that was nice. He had a first down run on 2nd and 7 that was nice. The pylon throw. I think the underrated part, the pylon throw I talked about, I gave Kittle a lot of credit for the catch, rightfully so. The third down on their third red zone trip, they'd already settled for 2 field goals, front right pylon. Go back and watch that play again. What you'll notice is Purdy has to double clutch that throw. And so, like the Jennings throw I mentioned earlier, he's not getting a full step into that throw. And he put it, I mean, he had like, you know, a 12-inch window he could put that football with a guy kind of in his face on a double clutch. And he did it. Another great throw. He had a sidearm throw. Ayuk had a catch on a sidearm throw that was really nice. And Brendel got called for a hold. I don't mean to go throw by throw, but he just had some really special plays in this game. 3rd and 9 late. He had a Garoppolo level throw. I don't know what that was. It was a big moment in the game. And this is where, if you're going to nitpick, it's not even nitpick. As his career goes on, and we're still early in it, they almost got into this position today. They didn't. So we didn't get to see it. They got into this position last week. They didn't win in this spot. Real late game pressure drives, right? Like you just want to, that's one thing we haven't seen a lot of. We've seen some people, every time I say that, people are like, oh, well, what about the Raider game on New Year's 2 years ago? It's like, yeah, okay. Fine, whatever. But they didn't get that comeback drive against the Rams to win the game. They didn't get the comeback drive against the Cardinals to win the game. They were almost in position to do it today. They definitely had a drive late where there was a lot of pressure, and they basically, I think they went 3 and out or close to it. So we're still waiting on that, right? Like Niners down 6, 3 minutes left. What do? Niners up 6. They score a touchdown. They take a lead. You're down 1. You got to drive down and win the game. What do? It's not that I'm not saying he's never done it. Like you're going to be able to find example. But today just felt like late. All right. There's a lot of time left. They may go down and score. Are you going to be able to go put this game away? They did it on the Garendo drive, but the drive before they didn't. And they never got down, and so it didn't have to happen. But, I just feel obligated to say it because I'm thinking it. And some people will interpret that as being picky on Brock. It's not. It's just a reality. They got to show that. Like, you want to get confident with that. But, I mean, we're going over the top, like not over the top. He did some amazing special things today. In addition, Steve Largent was the name I was looking for earlier. Thank you. I watched a lot of NFL films on Steve Largent. He used to track the ball here to here. It was really cool. NFL films. I loved watching Steve Largent. And then I go to Google and be like, oh, that team sucked. They were terrible. But hey, the highlights are sweet. Yeah. All right. What do you got, Connor? I'm looking at Connor's. I've been talking about Brock, and Connor's been reading the chat and telling me some of what the chat Kittle throw. Yeah. Second throw. Brock owns Seattle, Connor says. Here we go. 8 touchdowns, 2 picks, 262 yards per game, regular season. How many picks did he have what was his postseason game? Someone in the chat said Brock's speed beating Jerome Baker to the corner on a rush. Baker ran a 4.53. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It was the number one thing I love about Purdy right now is that he doesn't have to play a perfect game for you to see how special he is, and I think that's the thing with any young quarterback or anybody when you're looking for consistency. It's like, what do you do in non-ideal situations? And in non-ideal situations, he still makes winning plays. Now, if I was saying, hey, what's between now and the next 10 years? What do you want to see out of him? It'd be some, late game icing, game winning drives, that sort of stuff. Comment. Brock had some good moves, but in the beginning, it looked like he was trying to escape too much, settled in, started making better reads. There's a fine line between playmaking and, being a little too confident and just knowing when to kill a play and live for another down. There's no question. And he's figuring that out. But he's doing a lot of special things while he's figuring that out. What other notes did I have on this game? Connor, anything I'm missing? I'm just looking through my notes. I think I hit a lot of that stuff. I mean, we could talk about that review play, but I think I commented on that. What else we got? See, I can't. I apologize. Like, some of you hit me with some super chats, and I appreciate you throwing a few bucks at me, but I can't find all. Like, they disappear. Here's one. James, super chat. You disagree with the league's catching up with the offense. What is the problem in your opinion? They run on first and goal every single time, just about. Just wondering your thoughts. I'll admit I have a hard time pinpointing what the problem is. I mean, I do think it's that they're not running it effectively in the red zone, but that just begs the question. Okay, so why are they not running it effectively in the red zone? Is it their offensive line? I think their back should be good enough. Like, there's enough threat of the run, of the pass. I don't know. I'm not sure. Even the 2 red zone touchdowns, like, God, I'd prefer not to get to third down. I tell you, balls with a lot of air underneath them to guys that aren't great jump ball guys like Debo, don't love that. So I don't have an answer to that, James, other than to say I do think so much when you look at some of the efficiency, they are still so efficient on offense. They're putting up at what is JP Mason was leading the league in rushing coming into the game, and Brock was 4th in the league in passing coming into the game. JP Mason was leading the league in rushing, and I think Brock was 4th in passing coming into the game. Like, though, that's not an offense that's been figured out, right? Now, I say that you put a period on that and you go, okay, but what is happening in the red zone? And I do not want to give them an excuse. I think part of it, you hope, is sample size, but the history is they've had a ton of success in the red zone. And I don't think that did not change overnight. The McCaffrey thing, okay, well, maybe it's Christian. Yeah, I mean, definitely part of it, but they were 1 or 2 in the red zone before McCaffrey showed up. So I don't know. I don't have it figured out, but I think it's too soon to say that they're not capable of it. But I do think it goes back to the inability to run in the red zone, which begs the question, why? It'll be interesting to see this week or tomorrow, like, go back and watch the tape, look at some of the PFF. What happened? Brock was 332, 3 touchdowns in the wild card game against Seattle. How many pressures they gave up today relative to their, because it felt bad. It felt bad. Comment: if they unravel after the kick return and lose the game, they have to fire the special teams coach, right? I mean, no. You think Kyle wants to go hire a special teams coach? He can't find one when he's got time. Comment: the Hawks are trash. 6 wins max. Yeah, I don't think they're anything special. But even when they're not special, at least one of the 2 games you play with them are just a knockdown drag out, if not both. Usually one you blow them out, one's a knockdown drag out. Was this a blowout? No. But, like, you go back and look at this. Niners had, and we've talked about them before about, are they a big play offense, or do they have the ability to, are they the Princeton offense? And we know they've been the Princeton offense historically. Well, let's look at these drives here. How many plays was this? Well, not 76. That was a touchdown. 13 plays, 90 yards. 14 plays, 77 yards. 9 plays, 70 yards. 648. That was a punt. 381. I mean, they had 1, 2, 3. Well, the 76-yard touchdown, it doesn't count. They had 3 drives of 70 yards or more, not counting the 76-yard touchdown. And basically Seattle did the same. I mean, there are a lot of possessions in this game. More possessions than I usually expect from a Niner game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 possessions. I guess that's probably about right. All right. Connor, did I miss anything? Chat, did I miss anything? I think we got it. Now, what comes up next? If Doug Peterson, no, I'm not answering that question. You want to hire Mike McCarthy? Doug Peterson? You have a better coach. What's going to happen with the DC, right? I mean, that's the big question. All right, coming up next, the Chiefs are on a bye. Chiefs are on a bye. The Chiefs do not play this weekend. So neither do the Niners. Offsets the Chiefs offsets the Chiefs' advantage a little bit. Instead of having a full disadvantage, it's only a 4-game disadvantage, which is good. You'll take that. That's the Fox game of the week. That means that's Brady. 125. Then the Cowboys on NBC. That'll be a Sunday night game, and then a bye. So big couple weeks coming up, but they got themselves in good shape. They play the Seahawks again in less than in a month, basically 5 weeks in November. Is that it for Thursday night? No. Niners play on Thursday night, week 15 against the Rams at home. That's December 15th. Okay. How many more primetime games do the Niners have? They play week 8 against Dallas primetime. They play week 13 against the Bills on Sunday night, just like Dallas. That's 2. They play the Thursday night game against the Rams. That's 3. And they play Monday Night Football against the Lions week 17. So that's 4. So, if you want to, there's a theorem, right? Like it's not a theorem. It's just a saying. Like, don't assume ill intent when incompetence is an explanation. But I didn't say it exactly right. So in other words, like, the league isn't trying to screw the 49ers. They've got them on 4 more primetime games. They do not want the Niners to suck. They want the Niners to be good. Top 5 red zone teams. All right. Connor says top 5 red zone teams in touchdown percentage. 1, Saints, Kubiak. 2, Browns, Stefanski. So it's not direct Shanahan tree, but it's Shanahan stuff. 3, Ravens, Derrick Henry. 4, Texans, Shanahan tree. 5, Vikings, Shanahan tree. Niners, 24th. So maybe all those guys that coached for Kyle were the red zone experts, and now they're all gone. Maybe that's what it was. Guy, the Niners LA club watches the game at the DeWolf Bar. You should watch with us in Pasadena. You should watch with us next time you're in town. Deaf Wolf Bar. How far am I from the Deaf Wolf Bar? 2 miles. Still open? Swing by. Get a little corn on the cob. All right. I think that's that for this, everybody. Good work tonight. Thursday night. If you haven't had enough of your boy, I'll be on the UCLA Minnesota game Saturday night, 6:30. I just show up Pacific time on the Big Ten Network. Der Wolf Bar. All right. Very cool. Appreciate the invite. Pasadena's cool. I just got a text that said you got a white balance. No, I'm just trying to make it so you guys can go to sleep tonight. I don't want to blast your eyes with the blue light. All right, I'm giving you the red light, like the night vision. I'm giving you the red light so everyone can go rest tonight. What's Mason's injury looking like? Great question. That'll be a big question. This is where the Thursday night, you're kind of happy to play on Thursday because you get a little more time. All right, I think that's everything. I did the ad. I talked about a bunch of stuff. Juice TD, mentioned the Juice TD. It felt to me, you guys know it felt to me like Kyle got him that touchdown on purpose so he could go jump into the stands again. That's what it felt like. I don't think Kyle's going to call plays like that in that spot, but that's what it felt like. All right. On that note, everybody, good work. Everyone, round of applause for intern/producer, Connor. Good work behind the scenes tonight, Connor. And thanks to all you for jumping in. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel.